everyone, hey and welcome back to yet another episode of Battle Rap Resume. This is one of my favourite things to do. These are event recaps where we go through all the battles, all the stories, or I'm sure with King of the Realms as well, the notorious activity that went down. And before we get into that, we're talking about the amazing Top Gun card, which I can't wait to hear about because there were so many good battles. I just want to say, please follow the show at Battle Rap Resume. Message us battlerapresume@gmail.com. Please like us. Please subscribe on YouTube. Pick up a t-shirt off redbubble.com/battlerapresume. Max Sherry wears one, so we have been endorsed by some of the highest clientele in the game, and that is, shout out to Mac every time. I can't believe he had that shirt. It's still a great honour for me and J Ferg as well. And if you'd like to help the show also in any sort of other way, please leave a review on iTunes. That would be really, really useful. But today it's not just going to be me on my own recapping this Top Gun card. I'm with Martin Visceral. Martin, I have to say it's kind of a weird thing because I was aware of you as a poet maybe like 2 or 3 years before I even knew you were a battler. You remember Evidently?
Yeah, of course. I still go to Evidently. Oh man. So, shout out to Kieran and Ella and the Manchester spoken word scene. Funnily enough, that's where I know Kinell from as well, Carl.
Oh, he's done Evidently.
Yeah, I think that's where I met him first time. Either Evidently or Word War, which is their like kind of more competitive slam night that they do as well.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely one of them where I met Carl first time.
Oh, right. Interesting. Yeah, I should say, if anyone's listening, definitely track down. It's called Evidently Salford on YouTube. And it's quite unique for a spoken word night where they pretty much film everyone that performs and puts it on YouTube. It's brilliant. And I remember being there, Visceral, I should say. I was there. I think I did a little bit of spoken word myself, and you came on and started doing this poem that really got my attention. And it was kind of almost like, I remember thinking in the back of my head, this guy kind of sounds like Chilla Jones. Just you were almost like scheming. I think it was, you were doing all weather and stuff like that. Do you remember the poem? I can't.
Yeah, it's called Space to Breathe.
That's it.
And it was because like someone said to me, I asked for a topic to write about. I just wanted a challenge. So we said air, that's your topic, air. So I went, all right, cool. So started with a big brainstorm. And then I guess, I don't know if this was like a subconscious thing because I'd been maybe listening to a lot of battle rap, you know what I mean? A lot of that scheming style or whatever. But yeah, I did a whole thing about just, wanting space to breathe in your life, wanting a headspace or whatever. But I just used loads of wordplay to do with, the atmosphere, oxygen, air, all of that thing. Yeah, just a bit of a challenge for myself writing like that, something a bit different.
It was really good, man. And I'm not just sort of flattering you. Like, I went to a lot of poetry nights, and you go to a regular poetry night, you see a lot of poems, and not everyone's going to stick in your head. But I do remember that one quite vividly, actually. So that was a great thing. But obviously, you're a battler now, and like, were you battling at the time? Is that something you've kind of got into later on, or?
Yeah, it's something quite recent, to be honest, because I've been rapping for a long time. You know what I mean? I've been making music. I've been MCing and putting on events for like a long, long time. I've been since 16. You know what I mean? So that's like, you know what I mean? And you can probably see, you know what I mean? I'm thinning on top now. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting to the big 3-0. So it's like, it's quite a while anyway that I've been rapping. But yeah, battling is something I was always into. I always followed it. But I was never really, I don't know, I was hesitant to get into it because I don't know, I didn't know at first how I would be able to take it. Like, actually, what I was worried about was taking the abuse from the opponents, if you know what I mean. I was like, well, it's one of those things where if you really feel like you don't know if you can keep your cool or keep a level head, you're best to just stay out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then circumstances kind of led me to have a battle. My first one was with a guy called C-Rap. He changed his name now, he doesn't use that name, but that was just something that happened, man. We had a bit of a rivalry going on, so we thought the best way to deal with it was to actually just settle it live. Let's do a battle. I got the bug from then, and then Bowski, the Boast dog, got onto me and he was like, do you fancy doing one for King of the Ronalds? And I was like, all right, fuck it, why not? And just sort of snowballed from there.
Yeah, man. And I'm not even just saying this, but you are one of their good guys. Like, King of the Ronalds has a great roster of its own talent now, and you're in the mix, aren't you? I mean, you've battled Bard, you battled the Deafening battles, right? The Kinell battle recently, they've all been good.
That was a fun battle, man. Because we've got the history as well. We know each other from the spoken word nights and all that. I've known him a long time. He's a good friend, real top guy, man. So with that one, I knew I could just have fun. I could say whatever the fuck I wanted. He could say whatever the fuck he wants to me, and I don't care. You know what I mean? It's just like in the spirit of fun, that one. No, but thanks, man. Respect for saying that.
Oh, no. I mean, yeah, I know. I urge people, if someone listen to this and haven't maybe watched a Visceral battle, first of all, check out that poem that we spoke about before, because it's great. But also, yeah, the Kinell battle, like, just your flips in it. You have great freestyle ability.
Yeah, thanks, man. Like, you know what it is? It's like, if I try and write my shit as soon as I can, I try and write it with like loads of time to learn it, the actual bars, the verses, and then if I've got them down, then I've got a bit of headspace to like think about flips and extra little things I want to say on the day. You know what I mean? Like, whenever you see my battles, if I don't do any freestyle bits or any flips, it's because I'm struggling to remember my shit.
Right.
But if I'm coming up with loads of little rebuttals and stuff like that, it's because I've got it down. You know what I mean? I've rehearsed it to death.
Totally, man. And, we'll get onto the card now, Top Gun. Before we get into the actual breakdown of the event itself, it's fair to say, 2016, King of the Realms, they've been killing it. Oh,
man. You know what? It really has gone from a kind of a bit of a troll league, a bit of a joke, a bit of an alternative to getting some decent battles on there and building a roster of its own now. And yeah, it's proper going from strength to strength at the moment. And it's been like 2 amazing events in a row. There was the Leeds event with Tony D and Dialect, and then there was Top Gun. And man, first and foremost, I want to give props to Hulk for putting this event together, because I know it was his intention to kind of get the big names and like good battles that are gonna pop off, rather than the tryouts and that. It's cool. You don't know what you're gonna get. It's a bit of a lucky dip. You know what I mean? They might be fucking awful or they might be amazing, but this was like battles that I knew were gonna be high quality.
And it was held on a Sunday evening. Battle events tend to happen midday Saturday. Was the timing better for the event, or?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little worried about that, to be honest. I was thinking, Sunday evening, are people going to come out? But of all the King of the Ronalds events I've been to, I don't know if it was like, it was definitely up there with like one of the best crowds, as in the biggest turnout, the best atmosphere. But it was the only King of the Ronalds event I've ever been to, probably that they've ever done, that started on time because there was enough people there in the venue to get it going.
And how did that kick off with Problematic versus Drwnd?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so this was the first battle. So should we get into it then?
Let's get into it, yeah, because we've got a lot to talk about, a lot of excited about. And Drwnd, I actually spoke to him at Next in Line, actually, and I remember he was pretty hyped up for this battle. Did this kick off the day well, or?
Do you know what? I've got to say, the first couple of battles, right, as much as I've just said, oh yeah, it was a great crowd, it was a great atmosphere, yeah. Having said that, at the start, it felt like a wake, you know what I'm saying? It felt like there was like some bad atmosphere going on at the beginning, and it took a couple of battles to kind of like ease into it. There was something off about it, man. So this first battle, there was something off about it, man. The atmosphere, it was I don't know the story. I'm not here to speculate or kind of talk about whatever extra shit happens outside of the battles. But I feel like Drwnd has some kind of beef going on with you. Are you familiar with the rapper Rose?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Right. Rose was there in the crowd, and he was heckling Drwnd to fuck, man. And it's bad when Mickey and Hulk are kind of like getting pissed off and telling him to stop heckling. They're usually the worst hecklers of them all, you get what I mean? And they were like, Rose, for fuck's sake, man, will you shut up? And Drwnd was getting pissed off. Problematic was getting a bit pissed off. And the crowd felt hostile, man. It felt like whenever they said a good bar, there wasn't really a reaction. But then whenever they said a bad bar, everyone laughed at them. You know what I mean? It had a bit of a schoolyard vibe.
Right.
So it got off to a very weird, strange. And then Mickey walked off in the middle of his battle. I don't know why. I think he maybe went to see to someone who was at the door, coming in or whatever to take money off them. And Drwnd got really pissed off, man, that Mickey just walked out, and he was going so, don't want to say badly, But anyway, right, so that's all the negative shit, yeah. But I think on camera, I think they're going to get a lot more credit for that battle than they got on the night. They deserve a lot more credit for that battle.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that one. And yeah, Raw's, I mean, he needs to calm down a bit. I actually met him at Next in Line. He's such a sweet guy in person. He's really nice. But I remember the Chucky P, Carlton Shanks, where he was just like, just shut up, man. Just let him spit.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like there was a bit of a personal beef going on there with Drwnd as well. I don't know what that is. I might be wrong.
Okay.
Like I say, I'm not here to speculate, but there was definitely a weird atmosphere at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And, we'll push ahead. Was it yours battle was second? It was second on the card. Was that the...
Well, my battle didn't happen. So, all right, I suppose I'll get to this.
Yeah.
But, it's King of the Ronalds, man. There's going to be some fuckeries, isn't there? It's just sort of like... It's in the title, isn't it? You're dealing with clowns here. So, so I was meant to be battling Tidal earlier on in the night.
Mm-hmm.
Tidal wasn't there, and I was getting a bit worried because I've had a few opponents no show or pull out last minute.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, I'd taken like 2 days out to go to London today. It's like, it was quite a big undertaking for me to go all the way there. Tidal. So I was like, where is he? Has anyone heard from him? And people were assuring me, don't worry, he's on his way. He's going to be here later. All right, cool. So that didn't happen when it was supposed to. We'll come back to that later.
Okay.
I'll try and tell it in chronological order.
Sure, please.
I won't miss anything out then.
Please, man. So what came up after the Drwnd problematic clash?
Next was Max Sherry, the legend, versus Carlton Shanks, who's an amazing newcomer.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Carlton?
I am. I've seen him battle. I saw him battle Maisie actually, and I thought he was very good. Yeah,
he's brilliant, man. I think, in a way, I feel like he's someone a bit like me. He's been watching battling for a long time, and he stepped into it a little bit late.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got that perspective. He's been watching it, and he definitely knows the formulas. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You can see the way he constructs his punch lines, and he's watched a lot of it, and he knows what works, and he's got the delivery. He's got like a strong delivery. He's got good bars that like punch hard. And I rate Carlton Shanks very highly, man. I think this was a good matchup.
Mm-hmm. And how was Mac?
Right, okay. So again, we're dealing with a very weird atmosphere.
Yeah.
Mickey starts this battle. He kind of sets it up in a way where he introduces Carlton Shanks as Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
And Mac Sherry as All Lives Matter. He's like, this is Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. If you cheer for All Lives Matter, you're a racist, like that,
Oh.
So straight away he sets it up so the crowd are against Mac. And Mickey, he loves to fucking wind up Mac Sherry, man. He fucking, what I mean? It's what he lives for, man. It's part of the comedy of KOTR, all of this shit. It's totally unprofessional and it's fucking shambolic, but it's funny, you know what I mean? And Mac Sherry he's a stand-up guy, man. And he sees the funny side of this as well.
Yeah, and did he get all his 3 rounds out okay?
Right, so I think after that intro, Mac Sherry's stuff was, he had a lot of stuff that was borderline racist, yeah?
Oh.
So he did this whole thing about Carlton's mum getting too close to a kid and then getting shot, and the punchline was she was Harambe gorilla. And then he did a whole thing in his, I can't remember what round it was, but he said something like, your mum shits out of a pussy. And then there was a rhyme scheme which was like a long one, and he was like, I remember the first of poos that squirts and ooze, and and
right.
and I knew what was coming. I could see it from a mile off. The punchline when she gave birth to you. You know what I mean? And the punchline was that Carlton Shanks is a turd.
Yeah.
Basically, that she gave birth to. And I spoke to Mac later and I said, Mac, I don't think that went down too well. It just was not popping with the crowd because of the kind of racist undertones of it. And he was like, what do you mean that wasn't racist? You know what I mean? Like, he could see it himself, how it could have been interpreted as that. Like, I don't think he meant it to sound racist, but because of the intro Mickey gave it, it kind of felt like, you know what I mean? Yeah. But let me give Matt props, because he had an amazing line, which was he was talking about Carlton Shanks, being doing sort of gay jokes, you know what I mean, sort of about Carlton being gay or whatever, like, liking a bit of cock and all of that. And he said, your alarm clock is a hard cock in the fart box, which I thought was an amazing line, man. A fart box, I've never heard an arse described as that before. I thought that was really creative, man. I've got to give him props for that. So that was and Carlton was solid, man. You know what I mean? It was not his best performance, I don't think, but he was solid. He had good punchlines, but the crowd were just not. They weren't really like with him. The crowd were not rocking with either of them, man. It was kind of falling a little bit flat. I really felt for both of them, to be honest.
That's a shame, because like that kind of battle with the right crowd could be huge. But,
and it was a great crowd. There was a lot of people there as well. But anyway, I feel like maybe the first battle and all the shit that happened there maybe kind of threw it off. The crowd were in a weird mood. I don't know if it being Sunday night kind of affected. I don't know. I'd have thought it'd have been a bit more chilled out. But anyway, so that was that battle. And then again, like the first one, I think they're going to get more credit when it comes out on video. It comes out on YouTube, man. People are going to appreciate the bars a bit better. So that was the first two battles, which I feel were underappreciated.
Sure.
And the crowd was a bit off. And then they got into the next bit, which was straight away we're into a big battle now. Tidal's still not there, by the way.
Okay.
I'm still waiting, like, Tidal going to turn up or what? We had Mos Prob versus Pedro.
That was the third battle?
Yeah, that was the third battle, man, yeah. Like I say, it was meant to be, obviously me and Tidal are, a bit more of a, undercard matchup, but with him not being there, it was like, well, we're going to have to do it later. So we had Prob versus Pedro, and it was nice to see Mos Prob again, man, because I've worked with him on an event before, and Rapunzel was there as well, his wife, who, for those aren't familiar, she's a battle rapper as well. And they brought loads of the family with them as well, like their American family.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there was loads. It was like a family outing. It was unbelievable, you know what I mean? And so they had loads of the family, like the cousins and the parents, and it was crazy, man. They just rocked up. And Mos Prob absolutely killed it.
Oh, good.
Killed it. It was his KOTR debut, this as well. And he was really on vintage Mos Prob, man. Really witty, dry, sarcastic, a little bit surreal as well.
Yeah.
He had this angle about he was trying to get into Pedro's mindset, so he could battle him. So he ended up like fucking killing a cat or something like that.
Right.
Killed one of the neighbours' cats or whatever, and he was kind of like mourning it. And it was funny, man. It was quite theatrical the way he was doing it.
That's really good to hear, man. Obviously, they had battled before on Don't Flop, like on a demo battle, so...
Yeah, they've been in like a 2-on-2 together, haven't they, before? That's right. I don't know. I think they said they've battled like 4 times or something total. This was like the 4th time or something ridiculous like that.
And how was Pedro?
Pedro, I've got to say, right, I'm a huge Pedro fan, man. He's one of my favourite UK battlers of all time, but I've got to say, he wasn't really on point.
Right.
But unfortunately, it was another one of those where he didn't really write anything and he just freestyled the whole time, which is, I admire his guts to do that, to just like step into a big battle with a big name. This is not a nobody. This is Mos Prob. This is like a UK legend, man. And he just steps up with like no written bars and he just goes, fuck it, I'm just going to freestyle the whole thing and go with it. And if it's great, it's great. If it flops, whatever. So I admire Pedro, for doing that kind of thing. But unfortunately, it wasn't hitting.
Yeah, that's a shame.
I actually feel like I remember thinking on the day he actually got 3-0'd.
Wow.
And there was one point as well where this is going to go down as an infamous moment where Pedro took off Prob's glasses and chucked them across the room. He like dashed them behind the bar. And I don't think people were really, I know people like drama and beef and all that, but people weren't really backing him on that. Everyone was like, come on, Pedro, you know, it's a bit out of order that. Because,
especially with his family there.
Exactly, yeah. And also, like, Mos Prob is like, he doesn't act like a bad man, you know what I mean? You're not really proving anything by doing that.
No.
It's not like Mos Prob. It's not like he goes on like he's bad or anything like that. So, but actually, let me say this, though, in Pedro's defense, right? I know he had like a little bit of a weak battle compared to, you know, his previous history, but I heard that he was actually having a bit of a bad time. He'd had a bit of a rough day, you know. I'm thinking, like, he was going through some personal shit anyway, so his head wasn't in the right place for that battle. And I do remember seeing Mos Prob writing on the forum that, you know, he said, with the shit Pedro's been going through, like, I've got respect for him for coming and just doing the battle anyway. So whatever's going on in his life, it was something that must have been really distracting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and also Pedro, he fully apologized for dashing his glasses and all of that. Straight away, he said, all right, sorry about that, that was out of order, you know what I mean?
Right.
So there was no big problems, there was no big beef or anything like that.
No.
And at the end of the day, man, it was an entertaining battle, and it was great to see Mos Prob fucking stepping up to King of the Ronalds and smashing it.
Exactly. I don't think the guys have battled in the UK for a while, and he is like just absolutely fantastic. Like him versus Soul, it's like one of the best no flop battles ever. It's so good.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm a big fan of his one with Ogmios.
So good.
You know what I mean? Like, hilarious, man. Fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? So,
really original writing.
Exactly, yeah. Like I say, he's not afraid to go a little bit surreal.
No.
And the crowd, so at this point, the crowd have warmed up. The crowd are finally, the vibes getting better, it's getting a bit warmer, and people are actually enjoying themselves by this point now. So that was that battle. You know, that was a clear victory for Prob, but Pedro's definitely not lost any respect in King of the Ronalds anyway.
No. Yeah, that sounds like an interesting one to rewatch. And what followed?
Oshea and Lefty after that.
Damn.
Yep, straight in with these big battles, man. They weren't fucking about with this one.
No.
Now, this one, it was interesting because I was talking to Lefty outside, and I was like, so you ready for this, man? You got your bars down and that? And he was like, nah, I've not written anything.
Oh.
Like, what do you mean, man? You've not written anything? And he was like, I'm just going to freestyle it, man. I'm just going to have a laugh and just enjoy this one. I was like, okay. And I don't know, someone like me who's, I don't know, man, like, everyone approaches it differently, don't they?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like I really like having my shit down and like I'm crafted or whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm feeling confident and I've got a nice structure there and I've got some nice bars to fall back on. Whereas Lefty just seemed so blasé, like, yeah, freestyle it, mate. It'll be, you know, it'll be funny, you know what I mean? It'll be a laugh. All right, cool. And I just couldn't, I don't know, it wasn't filling me with confidence because I was really looking forward to this battle and I was like, this isn't going to be the fucking classic I was hoping for. Because it was almost like he didn't care, if you know what I mean. That was the vibe I got, like he didn't care. Tell you what, I couldn't have been more wrong. Because both of them it was like a freestyle battle. I don't know if any of them come with any written shit at all. Oshea might have had a few bars that he was throwing in that was kind of preconceived, but for both of them it was mainly a freestyle battle and it was better for it. So they were like playing off each other loads. They were like the same one thing, the other guy was flipping it and then they were flipping it back, and it was a real back and forth, and it was just funny as fuck. Like, both of those guys were just having a laugh and enjoying it, and the audience were fully warmed up by this point and just laughing at every line. Oh,
terrific! That's great. I mean, yeah, they are both. Oshea and Lefty are such vibe rappers, aren't they? They just bring great atmosphere when they rhyme, and like it's not the most obvious matchup out there, but like I can't wait to see it now.
Yeah, you're going to enjoy that one, man. You're going to really like that one. And I've just got to give MCs like that, I've got to give them props for just being so laid back and relaxed and confident with just stepping into a battle with no bars written, nothing in their head. You know what I mean? That's because someone who's like less confident would be, they'd be worried about just drawing a blank, nothing coming to them, it falling flat. You know what I mean? Because I've done it before and I've fallen like flat on my fucking face doing that. So, Lefty, man, fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Hilarious, really funny. Again, quite a lot of racial content in this one.
Okay.
But I gotta say, this is from Oshea. I mean, he did a lot of like black jokes and mixed race jokes like that. But it was different than the Max Sherry one because the crowd were just fully Lefty was laughing. It was like, you could tell there was no malicious intent. Yeah. It was pure joke shit with this. He said to someone I remember, he's like, his hair was kind of like spiked out, sort of, and he said to him, like, his head looks like a firework exploding. I'm rapping real, your head looks like a Catherine wheel and shit like that. Lefty said something like he had a bar about Giacomo to Oshea, something about, whatever he probably gets fucking, probably got the club card at Giacomo or something like that. And Oshea flipped it back. He said something about Blackamo. And then Lefty flipped it back. He said something about him being on drugs, Crackamo. Like that. So it was just going back and forth, man. It was just a very, very fun battle, and I'm looking forward to seeing that one back.
Oh, for kind of meager beginnings, it sounds like this event was heating up. These are great. Yeah,
it was weird, man. First couple of battles, I was like, is this event going to flop or what? But then by this point, I'm like, nah, this is one of the best fucking KOTRs has ever been.
Sounds like it, man. And was there a break then? Did they do another big battle or?
Yeah, so we had a break. When we come back, we had another fairly big battle. I mean, these are not, maybe the names haven't got as much recognition as the last couple of battles, but we had Flabz and Eljay then.
Right.
Two kind of like, up and comers, but who are quite well, anyone who knows them, respects them, and that they're both solid MCs. So yeah, Flabz and Eljay. Are you familiar with these two?
Flabz does some sort of media channel. Is that right? That's I think where I know him from.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I should shout them out. You know what? I jotted a few things down because I was asking in the forum a few days ago, like, oh, what are the main things that I should mention? What are the important points for this recap? Yeah, one of them was actually that Flabz was doing a bit of filming while he was there for his channel. Go Big TV, it's called.
Right.
I'll be honest, I'd not heard of it before, but I checked it out and it's actually really good stuff on there. So, and yeah, anyone listening, man, I urge you to check that out. Go Definitely. Big TV. Really good stuff, man. Really high quality, well filmed. It's got a really good interview with Hulk on there as well.
Yeah, I think there's Frankie Fraser does like a little song on there, a little verse or something. That's how I find it. It was really good.
Yeah, so Flabz, he was filming on the day. He was getting a few of the rappers to do acapellas and stuff like that. So I guess we'll see them on the channel soon.
Yeah, and Eljay?
Eljay, yeah. So Eljay is a really prolific character, sort of on the Ronald Roundup,
right?
Which is kind of like it's like a joke little thing that they have.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. It's great.
Yeah, it's all the kind of like mad shit that happens, behind the scenes at KOTR. And she's also like a very talented rapper in her own right as well. And I couldn't call this one, I didn't know. I honestly didn't know like which way this was going to go, who was going to win, but it was spoilers, I suppose, isn't it? But fuck it. It was a clear win for Flabz.
Okay.
It was a clear win, and unfortunately, it was because Eljay, she struggled to remember her bars. Man, she had a few quite bad chokes, and the KOTR rules: if you choke, they have to cut you off. So, but everyone felt for her, and you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't one of those where everyone was like, you choked. Everyone was like, oh, that's a shame. Even Mickey was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I've got to cut you off, because people wanted to hear what she had to say because the bars she got out were really good. But it wasn't her night, unfortunately. And Flabz was, he just gave a solid, he delivers well, Flabz. You know what I mean? He's got a nice, clear, confident delivery, and he's just like, yeah, man. Like it wasn't like a mind blowing performance. I don't know if it was his best performance ever, but it was easily enough to win 3-0.
Yeah, definitely so. And I really, that's another one that I am interested in seeing. It's a shame that she couldn't get her bars off. But what followed, Visceral?
So after that, we got into what was possibly the battle of the night. It was Kinell versus Bobby Rex. Oh, by this point, let me just kind of come back into my own little experience of the event. Yeah.
Please.
By this point, I think Tidal had arrived. So Tidal stood there in the crowd, and I'm like, yes, finally. And Hulk says to me, right, because we're going to get kicked out of the venue at a certain point, we're going to do me versus Tidal outside at the end.
Right.
We're not going to do it in the venue. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. As long as we get to do it, fine. Tidal's there. He's ready. And he's like, yeah, mate, I'm fucking ready to go. He's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Confident as anything. Great. Okay. So anyway, back into the...
I'm really curious to why the battle doesn't go down now.
Yeah, that's it. I'm kind of like filling you in the story as it goes, you know what I mean? So, so we had Kinell and Bobby Rex then, which was a fucking hilarious bar fest, man. It was such a good battle.
Yes.
And you know, Kinell, unfortunately, is one of the top names in KOTR. I think, you know what I mean? I think, he's got a lot of people. Got a lot of people who appreciate what he does. You know, who really rate him. I really rate what he does.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
But as a few, like say his battle with me, he kind of forgot his bars. He was a little bit too hammered. We had a 2-on-2 recently as well, where Kinell was my partner, and we battled Mickey and Hulk. And we did that because, look, by the way, this is a Manchester event which happened a little bit before this, jumping back in time a little bit. And again, Kinell had one too many and he forgot all his shit. So he's been a little bit of a victim of that, of forgetting his shit for being a bit too hammered. But this time he came correct and he came sober, which is a very, very rare occurrence. But he was just like, nah, I'm not going to let that happen again. He wanted to give his best against Bobby Rex, and he did. And both of them were just killing it, man. Just killing it. Trying to think of if there's any main points in this battle. It's all a bit blurry to me.
No, I'm sure it is, but just I think, as someone who follows the scene and stuff, Kinell versus Bobby Rex, what an exciting matchup that is. That's two new people or newish people who both have their own approaches. And is there a winner, or is just the crowd's a winner?
You know what, the crowd's there is a winner, but yeah, you're right, the crowd is the winner. The culture, as they say, is the winner. Actually, for this one, it's got a bit of significance, man, because this is the KOTR debut of Bobby Rex. And for those who don't know, Bobby Rex he's really made a name for himself in a fast time on Don't Flop. He's like, he's been heralded as one of the best newcomers. He's really funny. He's got a great delivery. He's just a really good performer, man, and a really good MC. And he's actually staff as well for Don't Flop training days, which I didn't realise until this battle, where he announced it at the start, and he was straight away, he knew preempted. He was like, no, a lot of people aren't going to like this, but I'm staff for training days, and he kind of like used that as a way to, at the start, address the elephant in the room. Yeah. But then he was like, but I'm here on fucking King of the Ronalds facing one of your top boys, and what can you say to that? That was his sort of angle, as far as I remember it, I'm probably not doing it justice because he worded it in a much more clever way than that. But he came correct, man. And there was a point, I think it was the end of his first round maybe, where he forgot his bars. And to buy a little bit of time, he just nicked Kinell's pint and just started supping from it. That was funny in itself. When you see someone choke and they've got the crowd in stitches, then you know that they're a great performer. Yeah.
Innuendo is another one that's great at doing that.
You can style out your chokes and turn it in, get a laugh out of it. Like
some people have like gun bars, choke bars can sort of work in a weird way. Obviously, it's not. If you're a big fan of the culture, that's not what you want to prevail. But yeah, if you have a personality like Bobby or like Kinell, you can just ride it out. Definitely.
Yeah, so charismatic, Bobby Rex.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? Yeah, he is absolute character.
And I got to say as well, like you mentioned the battle, like mine and Kinell's battle. If you were impressed by Kinell's performance in that, this one was like, he came twice as hard, I think, in this one.
Right.
He was just constantly hitting just hilarious punchlines, man, and he got all his shit out smooth as well.
No,
where he's been lacking before.
Kinell, I don't know where his imagination comes from. The guy just does battle after battle, and they always have great lines.
Drugs, man, that's where the inspiration comes. Nah, that aside, though, you know, it's like he's just a creative thinker, man, and he's a poet as well. You know what I mean? He's coming at it from a poet's perspective rather than an MC, but he's definitely not a Ponzi poet. Do you get what I'm saying? This is a guy, you know, he runs his poems by, you know, guys in the fucking local pub in Wrexham.
Right.
You know, his stuff is accessible. He wants everything he does, like his battles and his spoken word. You know, he wants it to be like accessible to everyone, man. Just like down to earth and witty. Yeah, he's going from strength to strength, man, and not like, you know. I'll move on in a minute. I don't want to keep banging on about it. I just watched the Snow Coast pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, I need to check that.
Oh man, it's great, man. Again, anyone listening to this, I urge him to check that. So No Coast did an event recently where they had King of the Ronald rappers over. They had quite a few internationals there. So they went over to Minnesota, and Kinell had a battle with Billy Shakes. Fuck me, man. That was one of the funniest fucking battles I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
Honestly, I was just at home on my own last night, just kind of sat watching it about 2 a.m, just fucking creasing, man.
Right.
Billy Shakes as well. Hilarious, man. Such a good matchup. But anyway, I'll stop going on about that.
Yeah, no, I agree, though. I can't wait to check that pay-per-view at Snow Coast. Please pick that up. But following this then, what was up next?
All right. So we had one more battle in the building, and that was Hulk versus Lex. Now, this event, in a way, it's quite historic, man. It's quite a historical moment for King of the Ronalds, I think, because you had a lot of debuts from quite big, well-established names, you know, like Mos Prob,
Bobby Rex, Lex,
Bobby Rex, Lex, Eljay, I think it might be her debut on KOTR. I might be wrong there, but basically a lot of big debuts at this event, and Lex is one of them, man. Again, he's a relative newcomer, but he's been making a name for himself, and him versus Hulk was a great matchup, man. I think my mate Maxwell said it best. Shout out to Maxwell, by the way, man. He's always puts me up when I go to London. You know, big support and a very good friend. So he kind of he put it best. I think he said he really enjoyed this battle because it felt like you were hearing stuff that you shouldn't be hearing. It was quite personal and quite cutting. You know, Hulk was talking about Lex's depression and addiction to like prescription drugs and stuff like that, and Lex, I'm trying to think what angles he came with, but again, it was quite cutting. It was quite close to the bone and a bit like, it wasn't funny and jovial. It was quite. It felt like it was in quite bad blood, but in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, and I gotta say, for me, like Bobby Rex versus Kinell was battle of the night, but Hulk versus Lex, it would have been battle of the night for me if they'd have both got all the material out smooth. Unfortunately, they both choked at some point.
Right.
And they were both kind of like, had a few stumbles. Aside from that would have been battle of the night. Because just the material was so vicious. And the two of them are so charismatic, man. You know what I mean? Like Hulk knows how to swag it out to the max. And Lex, again, he's got like an aggressive delivery, man, and powerful. And Lex is like, I really like his style because it's totally different to what the trendy thing is in battle rap. The trendy thing is like, punchlines, you know, you set up a punchline with a double entendre or whatever. But he doesn't do that, man. He just sort of like, he's a plain talker. He says it how it is.
Straight to the throat. No, completely. And I've been doing a bit of research on Lex, going on the show recently, rewatching his battles, and he is a great performer who really came into his own quite early on. And it's great to see him back on King of the Ronalds, because this guy could battle loads of people on this league, and they'd be great battles.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Like, I think I'm all right to say this, because it's been sort of spoke about in a public forum. But I'm looking to battle Lex next year.
Oh.
And it was a battle. He actually called me out on a video. We did an interview for Mad Dog TV. Let me get in another plug there.
Yeah. Shout out Amif every time. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, doing great work for the scene. So yeah, shout out Mad Dog TV. And yeah, Lex did a little interview there, and he said, "He'd like, I'd like to battle Visceral, man." And I got to spend a bit of time with him, man. He's a really safe guy. You know what I mean? Real good guy. And I think if we battled, there'd be, nothing but mutual respect. And a good battle, I think.
Yeah. He's a tough opponent. You're a tough opponent. You're very different styles. I think that'd be very exciting to see. And I'm glad that Hulk versus Lex was in spite of the chokes and stuff. If someone like yourself as well is saying the quality, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. When you got outside, then you and Tidal, did that finally what come to a head?
Right. What happened? I know I've got to try and be like. I've got to try and be diplomatic. Yeah. Well, I don't have to, but I'm choosing to be diplomatic here, because, I've not come on here to like slag anyone off. I've come on here to recap an event. I want to keep it positive, man. But so bear in mind that. So try and think of this from my perspective, man. I've spent my own money to come to London. I've taken out 2 days in a really busy period of my life, man. It'd been hectic. Well, that's irrelevant. Who gives a shit about that? The fact is, it doesn't matter. I'm there. I'm ready to battle. Got my bars locked down. I've got what I think is some killer material as well. Definitely, just because he's not a big name, I'm not taking him light. I don't take anyone lightly. You know what I mean? I'm still coming with my fucking A game. And yeah, so Hulk's like, right, we're gonna have one more battle outside. Everyone go outside now. Great. And then someone, I think Drwnd maybe like taps me on the shoulder and says, "Yo, Tidal's got off." What do you mean he's got off? Oh, he's got to catch a coach. That it's about 11 o'clock at night now. It's not that late. It's like, yeah, he's got to catch a coach. I'm like, nah, man, we're doing the battle now. I'm not having this. And Hulk said, if you can catch him, let him know that I'll pay for his travel and accommodation. Now that is, for them to offer that. Yeah. It's very, very rare. I've never been offered that before. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't expect it, because King of the Ronalds are, they don't have money to throw away like that. But Hulk wanted the battle to happen so much. He was like, tell him I'll cover all of that. I was like, right, okay. Went outside, saw Tidal wandering off with his mate. It's like, yo, Tidal, shouted him back. And he runs up. I said, where you going, man? We've got to do our battle. Like, no, man, I've got to catch a coach. Like, no, so I told him, you know what I mean? Yeah. You've got your travel sorted, got your accommodation sorted. So let's do it, man. We'll do it right now. He's like, oh, no, I've really got to go on with my mate. I was like, look, man, let's fucking do this battle. I'm not coming here like I'm getting, I'm a chilled out guy, man. But I'm getting a little bit heated at this point. And from my perspective, as far as I'm concerned, Tidal ran away.
Right.
He turned round and ran away.
You can't chase the tide, can you?
Exactly, man. You know what I'm saying? But,
right.
So it never happened. We were both there. I was ready to do it, but his reasoning was his mate doesn't know his way around London, and he had to start a new job in the morning, and blah 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 blah.
Right.
But the bottom line, anyway, forget all of that. The bottom line is it didn't happen, and it's never going to happen now. I'm not going to reschedule it. It can't be asked.
Yeah.
That's done. Fuck that battle.
That's a shame. That's a shame he had that attitude, and that is. I mean, at least can you salvage some bars and put them in other battles, or?
Not really. It's so specific.
Right.
So specific, man. I always write really specific for my opponent, and that fucks me up so much, man, because so many of my battles have been cancelled.
That's a shame, man. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I know that can be such a
It's just such a waste. But I mean, at least you're at this event, and at least we can do this recap. But
exactly,
it's not.
Yeah, so not all is lost.
No.
You know? That's what I see. That was my reason for being there, so I could do this today with you, Tom.
Thank you, man. Yeah, you're right. And was that was the event over, or?
It was. I just as well got to address this because there were a few battles cancelled.
Yeah.
So obviously me and Tidal didn't happen, which is ridiculous because we were both there. Big J versus Blitz didn't happen. Blitz pulled out. He pulled out like a few days before, I believe. Or
that's a huge look for him, though.
It is, and bear in mind, he's just coming off the back of battling Pedro. This is someone who was like the Ronald at one point. He was like the dickhead of the league officially.
Right.
He had the Ronald title.
Yeah.
And he's gone from battling Pedro to then getting a battle with Big J. So things are looking up for him, man. He'd gone from being like the dickhead to being a decent, a decent contender, getting good names. And what can I say, man? I think he's. I don't really know Blitz, man. I don't know what's going on in his life, but he always seems to be involved in some kind of drama. He always turns up to battles with like a black eye and shit like that.
Right. So, okay. Yeah.
He's always fighting at events and just always getting into shit, man. So. I don't know. He's classic King of the Ronald stuff, isn't it? You need these characters.
I suppose we do, but we need the battles more.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, if anything, I feel for Big J, man. I'm annoyed for Big J because he's had a few battles cancelled on him, man. He was meant to battle Shocks the Rebel,
Yeah, really.
KOTR versus.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And that didn't happen again. It's a shame, man. It's a shame. I feel for Big J, man, because he was quite a big name on Don't Flop, and he's come and obviously he's like boys with Hulk, they're like close mates, but he showed KOTR a lot of love from the start. Big J, man. He's one of those names that's kind of lent credibility. He's brought credibility to the league by coming and doing battles when they were just building themselves up from nothing. Yeah, I feel like he's got the short end of the straw. Is that the right phrase?
Short. Yeah, I think you've mixed metaphors, but we know what you mean, and that's just it's a shame. But by the sounds of it, there were some great battles, and they're going to be great additions to the King of the Ronalds channel.
Yeah, just quickly as well. One more cancelled battle was Chucky P versus Goods.
Oh, right.
Chucky P again, really good, strong newcomer, KOTR. Goods as well, who's been on Gifted Gab and he's been on Don't Flop as well.
Yeah.
And Goods pulled out, man, because he was ill apparently.
Right.
It's one of those, a bit lame, innit, really? But
it is, yeah. People always seem to get ill on those battle weekends.
But you know what you do? I can say this, right? From personal experience, I always get ill before a battle.
Okay.
And it's because of the stress.
Yeah.
Your voice goes or whatever, you get like that, oh no, my voice is going, and you start worrying about it. Oh shit, it always happens. You always get ill before a battle if it's something that like stresses you, but you just got to push through it, man. Unless, obviously, unless you're like dying.
Yeah.
So whatever, yeah, I'm not judging Goods, but it's just I was just a bit gutted that it didn't happen, really.
Yeah, and I mean, in conclusion, then, I mean, is this one of the best King of the Ronalds events you've seen with your own eyes? You've been to?
No doubt, man. It was, despite my own like feelings of being pissed off and gutted that my own battle didn't happen, and even with 3 battles cancelled, it was still a top class event, man, and it still had some of the best battles that I've ever been on KOTR happened on that night. And Hulk really, he really pulled out the stops to make this event happen. So hopefully this is just, one of many. I heard they're going to have a next Top Gun Part 2 as well in January.
Nice.
I think they're going to keep that theme going of just trying to have like the top battles, the really good matchups all on one night.
Yeah. It's their own little like gnome, isn't it?
Yeah,
I guess in a certain way. But and finally, I guess, when are we going to see you? Is it Lex? Is that going to be the next battle for you? Or is there anything booked? Or
I've got a battle this Saturday. In Knots, with Chapo.
Nice.
Chapo, another guy who gets no-showed a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be battling him. Hopefully that'll be a fun battle, man. I think we're both approaching this one with more of like a comedy perspective.
Right. Awesome, man. Yeah, I can't wait to see that. And I guess finally, how do people get at you? Twitter? What's your social media? Your music, even, or?
Yeah. But all my music's on. It's concentratedrecords.com.
Mm-hmm.
Have a listen to that. You know, I've not put anything out for about a year, but still go back, check out my old tunes. You know, still some good ones in there. And yeah, man, I'm on Twitter, but I don't use it that much.
Right.
Don't bother adding me on that. Add me on Facebook if anything. I'm just Martin Visceral, and my picture is like a brain, like a cartoon.
Right. And everyone also needs to go listen to Space to Breathe. Search Martin Visceral Space to Breathe. Check out that poem, like you said at the intro. It's fucking great. But Visceral, thanks so much, man. This has been really fun.
Yeah, much respect, Tom. I love what you're doing with the podcast. You know, I was saying the other day, man, that Ogmios episode was fucking brilliant. Man.
Yeah, he was so good. He was brilliant.
So big props to yourself, man.
Thank you, man.
Big props. Just a few quick shout outs.
Yeah.
You know, KOTR, man, Hulk, Mickey, Bowski for doing this, for dragging this fucking ramshackle league like into the, you know, what it's becoming now, which is getting bigger and better. Mad Dog TV for filming it, for always, you know, all the backstage coverage as well. It's always brilliant. Yeah, man, and also big up the ladies who made cakes for the day as well.
Oh, right.
And some of the ladies, who was it? Honey, Lucy, and Arija, I think that's how you say her name. Sorry if I said your name wrong. I've never actually spoke to her in real life. But these ladies brought cupcakes and sponge cake and stuff, and
wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. You don't have that URL, you know. So
exactly, man.
When they talk about cake, it's something slightly different, I think.
Yeah. The last thing as well, you know, and Lex as well had printed up a load of t-shirts with some of his own artwork as well, and he was giving them out. So that's it. You know what? It's, as much as battle rap is a horrible, evil thing where we stood there fucking, you know, tearing each other apart.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's all love, man, and people come in and they, you know, people come and contribute something and make it a nice vibe, and people are cool in reality.
Exactly. And I need to have you on here to do your own battle rap resume episode soon, man. Maybe in the new year or something.
Yeah, let's wait till I get some more material out first, though, because I've just been, I've been a bit unlucky, to be honest, this last year. I've had more battles cancelled or no-showed than I've actually done. I just got so much material that I'll never be able to use. But whatever, you know, it's the way it goes, man. Everyone's got to go through this shit. It's part of paying your dues, innit? So yeah. When I get a few more actual battles out, I'd be more than happy, Tom. I'd love to come and do one of my own.
Excellent, man. Excellent. So, Visceral, thank you again, man. It's been great.
Big up. Much respect, brother. Peace out.